Hey, good afternoon, Mower Medic 1. Today we got a 22-inch Brute mower on the bench. It's actually by Briggs and Stratton. This is one of their brands after they took over Murray. This is probably one of the, let's see, what kind of model number does it have? No. I was thinking maybe this might have been a rebranded Murray, but this is actually a Brute. This is their version of a 22-inch mower. And what we've got is a Briggs & Stratton 675EX engine. It's got the auto choke style carburetor that doesn't have the the thermostat style choke on it. It's got the well, basically I'll just have to take the top off and I'll show you how it works. Let's go ahead and pull the decorative top off. Just a Phillips screwdriver. And how this choke system works, this is a air vane governor, and when this is at rest, the carburetor is at full choke, and when the engine starts and the flywheel starts making air, it blows across this air vane and pulls the choke off. In my opinion, this is the best auto choke that Briggs ever made. It's foolproof. The only thing that I've ever really seen wrong is that this bolt will snap off in the carburetor when you go to take this off, but this one's free and it's not rusted around this arm here. Just always make sure your spring is installed. Sometimes these springs are so super small and they get a little bit of corrosion on them and the spring will break, and it'll shoot inside the engine and get wrapped around the flywheel, and I've seen it just get chewed up. And the spring is calibrated to where you really can't just put any old spring on there. It needs to be, you know, that spring. It's one of those OEM parts that will probably not be available soon, but it is available now. Let's go ahead and get this carburetor taken apart. This mower's been sitting for a couple of years, and I've tried to squirt a little help in there, a little carb cleaner, and it'll bust off and just run and die. So we're going to go through the carburetor on this one. I bought a kit. We're going to put a kit in it, and I'm going to show you the do's and don'ts of this little side draft WALBRO carburetor. Go ahead and pull the air filter off. It's 5 16ths or 8 millimeter. And we can already tell that we've got some yellowing of the fuel. See how that plastic is all yellow? We definitely got some old fuel in there. And we'll take a look at this air filter, and it's seen better days. It should have been changed a long time ago. Let's go ahead and pull the air box off of this thing. Some of the newer Hondas, they may omit this screw, but on this Briggs we got 1, 2, 3. And they put a little blue Loctite on these screws. That's why they're a little bit tough to get out. If you're using a ratchet or something, I would definitely, you know, come out, go in, come out and go in, but I'm using a rattle gun, so it vibrates those threads and it comes out pretty easy. So just pull it off. We got a new gasket just in case we rip the old one. As we can tell, here's the choke. When it's in the rest position, it's choked. and whenever the engine starts, it pushes the choke off with the air vane. I've already drained the fuel. You may get a little bit of residual. Just go ahead and pop your fuel line off. There we go. Boy, it was on there. You'll get a little bit of residual fuel coming out of the line, but just get you a rag and we'll get all that excess fuel socked up here. Just go ahead and pull the air vane governor, or not a governor, but the choke arm. It's a 1/4 inch. As you can tell, it's a special bolt, so you definitely don't want to break it or lose it. I'm just gonna pull it up away from the carburetor and just leave the spring and everything connected to where it's just dangling. You can actually push it in a little bit and maybe rest it on the flywheel, but you don't have to take it out of there. Just leave the spring and everything hooked up. And what we're going to do before we take this carburetor off, I'm going to take some brake parts cleaner, and we're going to kind of clean around it, and we're going to blow it off with some air just to get the big piled up dirt debris off of there. Let's go ahead and remove this carburetor. It's just got 2 screws. We got one hidden back in here and one right on the other side right here, and you can get to it with a 3/8 socket and a little extension on your little rattle gun. One. And 2. Just take your carburetor assembly, and we're gonna kind of just twist it to get out of the L bend of the throttle linkage right there. As you can see, they have gone, well, a few years back they went to plastic throttle shafts. They seem to work okay, but they will snap off if you try to force the rod in and out of this bushing right here. I've seen them just snap off. You can replace the throttle shaft. It's only a couple of bucks, but just be careful and you won't even have to worry about it. Go ahead and remove your fuel line. Just twist it off. As we can tell already, look at the corrosion around here. That should be clean. Let's get this carburetor apart and see what it looks like on the inside. Not too bad. Not bad at all. However, we can tell that the float is not sitting level. It should be like right there. That tells me that the needle in the seat, or the seat itself, has swelled a little bit. Go ahead and pull this out of here. Even the float bowl gasket is swelled big time. I bet you it breaks pretty easy too. Yep, rotten. Rotten. Here's the tool that I'm going to be using to pull the seat out. Now, this is a Tecumseh tool, and if you can see, there's the part number if it'll focus. This is awesome for getting the seat out, but putting a Briggs and Stratton seat in doesn't work worth a poop. So what I do is I've had this screwdriver for a super long time, and I've just taken and ground it at a taper. I put me just a dab of transmission assembly lube on there, put the seat on there so it don't fall off, and then I install it that way. But let's get this pulled out of here. All it is a small crochet needle. Put a little pressure and it'll pop it right out of there. I'm going to go ahead and drop this carburetor down in my ultrasonic cleaner. This is some of the best ultrasonic cleaning solution I've ever used. It's called Whirly's Wonder, and there's the address, whirlyswonder.cs.com. It's a great surfactant, and it just loosens up the dirt really well. It doesn't say anything on there about how much to use, so I've always just went, you know, about that much, and then fill it up with water to the max fill line right there. As we can tell, the sudsing action's already working. Go ahead and put the base in, let it go down, and drop in my float bowl. A good tip with ultrasonic cleaners is the part that you want cleaned, like if you wanted to clean this bowl and it was really nasty in here, turn it upside down and put it in and get all the air out so it doesn't try to float to the top. And we're going to put this carburetor in here freaking filthy. Let's go ahead and turn it on. We're going to get turned on. We're going to set it to 480 seconds, and then we're going to turn the heat on. Now it will take a while for the heat to get hot, but we won't sit here and watch this, but bear with me, and we'll run the countdown down, and we'll run 2 or 3 cycles through here, since 480 seconds isn't that long. I would recommend doing a carburetor for like 10-15 minutes maximum, because you don't want to tarnish the metal. You can tell it's working really well. Hold tight, guys. Let's get this carburetor cleaned. While we've got the carburetor cooking, let's just come over here. I want to show you a couple of things that you need to look out for on these Briggs old quantum style engines. Is this throttle, or this carburetor bracket right here. Excuse me. Sometimes this bolt will break off due to vibration. Say if you have a bent crank or a bent blade, for a period of time this bolt will just be missing, and it when this bolt gets loose or breaks, it puts pressure down the carburetor, pulling down. The engine will still run, but however, a lot of times this plastic intake manifold will break, and it normally breaks at the cylinder block, and it's a real easy fix. It's just a matter of taking the blower shroud off, and I think you might have to remove the ignition coil, but that intake pipe, that plastic pipe, breaks all the time on these. And I've seen guys do carburetors, new carburetors, clean the carburetor 10 times and it still won't run. Well, it's not going to run because it's not getting fuel to the engine. The intake pipe is broke. Well, about halfway through the cycle, let's go ahead and take a look and see how she looks so far. Give it a shake. As you can tell, much better. Let's go a little longer. Go ahead and see how she looks. Pretty good, pretty good. Emulsion tube looks good and clean. We'll get this thing blowed out with air and get the kit put in her. See how she runs. I just love ultrasonic cleaners. No harsh chemicals. Way, way better. Alrighty guys, this is the contents of the carburetor kit. The part number is going to be 498260, a very common kit. And I got lucky on this one. I got 2 seats. Here is the seat. You can see there's a groove. You're going to install it up into the carburetor body. What I like to do is get me a 3/16 punch and just dip it down in some assembly goo, and then take your needle. I mean, not the needle, the seat, and put it right on the end of your punch, like that. And that way, that assembly goo, it won't fall off. And I'll put links to all the stuff that I use in my video below. So we're going to take the needle, I keep saying needle, the seat, and basically we're just going to press it into the carburetor very carefully and do it evenly. Just kind of rock your punch back and forth. Don't twist it too much. And I wish y'all could see that. See if I can get it in the light so I can show you. It should be square down in the hole, not cocked to one side, and the groove up towards the carburetor. This is the biggest mistake most people make when trying to rebuild these carburetors. If you don't get that seat in there correctly, it's gonna leak fuel everywhere. The next order of business that we need to talk about is this flange height right here. Let me see if I can get me a scribe. From the bottom of this carburetor body to right here is different on some carburetors. If the kit comes with 2 different bowl gaskets, if we put the wrong bowl gasket, let me show you. See how that one's not tall enough? You're going to have fuel seepage from around your bowl, so we're going to use the taller gasket on this particular carburetor. Let's go ahead and get your float and shake it. You want to make sure there's no liquid in there, no fuel, and we're going to install this just like that. We're just going to let it fall right down on the carburetor. Slide in your float pin. And then we're going to check the float level. Remember to install the thicker gasket. Install your float bowl. Your main jet bowl nut assembly with new gasket. Use your 1/2-inch wrench to seat everything. You'll feel it. It'll actually stop, and then I would just go another 1/8 of a turn like that, and that's plenty tight. Go ahead and slide your new choke shaft seal on. Just push it over the 2 hooks there and carefully push it over the carburetor or the shaft there, and it looks like that when you're done. You can replace the one on the throttle shaft, but this one's okay. Here's a real quick and dirty way to test your needle and seat before you put it on the machine. I like to put my lips over the fuel inlet and just give it a suck and then put my tongue on it. Holds good vacuum, and it's good to go. You can put the tester on it if you want to, but I've done it a billion times that way and never failed me. Let's go ahead and install the new O-ring on the intake pipe. And let's get the carburetor put back on. Got a little fuzzy on the spring there, and get it off of there. Just like that. Let's go ahead and get the carburetor screws installed. Go ahead and install your choke. Linkage. And this is where it's important not to over tighten this screw, because it's an integral part of the carburetor. Now just check for free operation. Make sure it springs back. Go ahead and reinstall your fuel line. Go ahead and install your backing plate, making sure that you get your PCV nipple on the carburetor hose here. And cinch down these screws as well. Go ahead and install a new air filter. And your top decorative cover. Go ahead and put some 4-cycle gas in it. I'm going to put ethanol-free fuel in this particular machine because it's going to sit for a while. Just about a quart is all it'll hold. Alrighty guys, moment of truth. What I'm talking about. Runs good. I need to tweak the RPMs. They're a little low. They need to be about 3,250 RPMs, give or take, you know, 50 RPMs or so. My little Echo tachometer quit working, so I'm gonna order me another one, and I'll do a video on showing you guys how to set the RPMs on a small engine. It's really simple. It's just a matter of tightening the governor spring, and man, it turned out really good. Pleased with the repairs on this, and I hope that me being thorough and showing you where everything goes helps you guys out tremendously. Y'all have made this channel grow so much, and I appreciate each and every one of you. But we'll catch you on the next video. Have a great day, night rather. More Medic 1. See you later, bye.